Your bridge to hope, encouragement, and inspiration. It's Sozo Today with the Bridge FM Morning Crew. Here's Johnny, Jared, and Joel.
It's a good morning.
51 degrees, 8:05, 8:06 actually. Good morning, Washington, Greenville, New Bern. We are here to help you start your day. Thank you for tuning in. And it is a privilege, Jared. It is a privilege and a joy.
And an honor.
We don't say that often, a privilege and a joy, but it really is, man. And hop on to sozotoday.com. It's really easy. You can follow along. Today's devotional will be right there, center page. To the right will be a daily Bible reading plan that you can join. You don't have to do the plan to do the devotional. You can. We encourage you to do both, but you don't have to do.
Well, they tie in together.
They tie in together. And if you do the Bible reading plan, then today's devotional comes out of what you read today. But if you only have a chance to do the devotional, then hop on and do that, because there's a key verse today, Matthew 15:28, and we'll talk about that more in detail as we move forward in the next segment, actually. But Jared, you are looking a little tired this morning, brother. You're looking a little sleepy, tired. Do you get grumpy when you get tired and sleepy?
No, I just go to sleep.
You just go to sleep. Good. Thank God you're not grumpy. Thank the Lord.
Now, if you ask my wife, she might tell you otherwise.
Right.
But I am not ashamed to get an afternoon nap in when I need it.
So you didn't get a good night's sleep?
No, I'm going to need an afternoon nap.
You did not
today.
get a good night's sleep. What kept you from sleeping,
So
brother?
we got a new puppy the middle of February, and Coco, or Coconut, we call him Coco for the most part, he's a wonderful dog, and he sleeps every night. We put him down 10:30. He's like a little baby, like we're proud parents. He sleeps through the night. He doesn't wake us up. In fact, Johnny, when we get up early, we get up really early, right? So it's 5 o'clock, 5:30. He doesn't even wake up. He pays me no mind, and I do my thing, and I get ready, and I leave, and he doesn't get up till my wife gets up a little bit later. Well, last night, 12:30, my dog, it started before that. Like, we put him down at like 10, and Liz and I are in the bedroom watching TV, and he's just whining, and I'm like, what is going on? So I take him outside. He wasn't no rush, because if a dog really needs to use the restroom and you set him down, he goes boom. I mean, it's immediate. He has to, but there wasn't anything like that. He just wanted to hang out, I guess. So I put him back in. 12:30 wakes me up again. 3:30 wakes me up again. 4:45 I'm up again, and I'm like, oh, dude, you're killing me.
So you never got into the REM,
no,
the rapid
I probably
eye
never
movement,
did,
right?
And I couldn't figure out what the deal was. I took him out just in case, because I don't want him sitting in there whining and me just be a grumpy old man being like, dude, I ain't taking you out. You're just going, I couldn't figure out what it was until
we got it here this morning.
And that I saw the daylight started coming through, and I go, I actually took him out again this morning before I left because he was up whining again.
But you noticed something this morning,
out.
and then we tied it all together, right?
Yes.
And then we saw, like, wow, this really ties in with our devotion today.
So what does Coconut have to do with grace?
Yeah, and that's the winning side. And listen, we all want to be on the winning side, and we're going to tie Coco in the next segment. We all want to be on the winning side, and the winning side is defined by what? It's just defined by the side that God's on. And whatever side God's on, it is the winning side, and that's the side we want to be on, right?
Absolutely.
We're going to talk about that more next segment, but Joel has now got some weather. Give it to us, Joel.
Come on, Joel.
Today, sunny skies with highs in the 70s. Tonight, mostly clear with lows in the 50s. And tomorrow, sunny and warm with highs in the 80s. That's your weather update on 98.3 The Bridge.
Your bridge to hope, encouragement, and inspiration. It's Sozo Today with the Bridge FM Morning Crew. Here's Johnny, Jared, and Joel.
We have a story of grace. We have
Johnny, last segment you said it is a privilege and a joy to be doing this. You know what else this is? Man, it's a whole lot of fun. Y'all, we have so much fun sitting here every morning laughing, just cutting up. Sometimes we dive into these things in between breaks, and man, it's awesome to just sit in here and hang out. It is a lot of fun.
And sometimes I run out and get a cheese biscuit like I did yesterday.
Like yesterday, yes. And sometimes we can't get the headsets just right, and that's always funny for me to watch too. So we were talking last segment about the dog and how he kept us up all night. Y'all, you know, a whining puppy is one of the most annoying things when you're trying to sleep. You know, it is not cute at 2:00 in the morning. So this morning when the sun comes up and I'm seeing, as I'm beginning to see daylight break a little bit, I see that in front of Coco's crate, there's a bag of open treats. So all night long, Johnny, he had been smelling, seeing, probably dreaming of these treats, but they were just out of his reach. He knew they were good and he knew that's what he wanted, but he couldn't quite get it there. And when we were talking when I got here this morning, you made the perfect analogy of how that fits with us when we're trying to be on the winning side.
Mm-hmm. Because the winning side is this. It's God's grace and favor. The winning side is not the law. The Apostle Paul, who was Saul at the moment, discovered this. And Saul was a Pharisee of Pharisees. He thought he was doing the right thing as he's persecuting these people that were in, quote, the way, these new believers, because he saw them as discarding the law, and it infuriated him. And he, in wanting to do the right thing, he was trying to honor God, but he was doing it the wrong way. He was doing the wrong thing. And then Jesus appears to him on the road to Damascus and said, Paul, why are you persecuting me? Why are you kicking against the goads, King James says. And so then Paul realized, I'm not on the winning side. And that's a bad discovery when you actually think you're on the winning side, only to discover you're actually not. And what makes any side the winning side, particularly what we're talking about here, is because we want to be on the side that God's on. And whatever side God is on, that's the winning side. Mm-hmm. Jesus declared in his hometown temple in Luke 4:18 and 19, he said he came, one of the last things he said in that declaration was that he came to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. He came to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord, which is the season or the time and the age of God's grace and favor. Mm-hmm. That's what he came to proclaim. Not the law anymore. Not you gaining favor with God by keeping the law. He came to declare a new age, and that's the age of grace, and that's the age that we're in. And so, just like your puppy, oftentimes we are reaching for something that's just outside of our grasp, and we never can reach it. We can never connect with it. We can never quite make it, and it makes us restless. We never end up resting. And as a result, people close to us find it difficult to rest as well. It affects others also, absolutely, right? When we're constantly striving after something that's just out of our reach. And what is that? It's God's favor. All of us as believers, we want to be in God's favor. We want God to be pleased with us. But see, law, disguised often as religion, will often keep you in this belief factor and this thinking that you're never quite good enough. There's something a little bit more you need to do. You need to read a few more chapters in your Bible. You need to give a little bit more in the offering. You need to do this, and I call it getting stuck in the you need tos. That you need to do this, you need to do that. When in reality, we're already there. And our key verse this morning is in Matthew 15:8. It says, Dear woman, Jesus said to her, your faith is great, your request is granted, and her daughter was healed instantly. And it's the story about the woman who was a Canaanite woman that came to Jesus, and she came in some pretense at first. She came using some lingo that she thought would be acceptable to Jesus. And she referred to him as, Son of David, have mercy on me, Son of David. So she's referring to him as, she knew he was the Messiah. And so she's using lingo that she thought would be approved by Jesus, acceptable by Jesus. She thought if she used this lingo, it would move him in her direction. And he ignored her. And then he just flat out says, listen, my time's not for you right now. And he dismisses her. Mm-hmm. And then she says, here's what she says, Lord, help me. Mm-hmm. Exclamation point. Lord, help me. And she dropped all pretense and she got real for the moment. And in that realness, she got her healing. Her daughter was healed. And so that's the reality, Jared. We don't have to have pretense. We don't have to constantly be reaching and striving for something that's just out of reach, because the reality is we're already there. As new creations in Christ Jesus, we've been recreated. We've been reborn. We've been born anew in Christ. We are already in him. Paul said it this way: we are seated with Christ in heavenly places. We are already in him. And when the Father sees you and me, because we've received Jesus, when he sees you and me, he actually sees us through the prism of Jesus. So we don't have to work for it. Now listen, reading a few more chapters, that's a good thing. And giving a little bit more, we just talked about how one of our advertising partners gave. Giving is wonderful because it always comes back to you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. But we don't do that to gain God's favor and grace, because that can't be earned. It's free. And so the reality of it is that's the winning side. That's the side we want to be on. And you know what? It's all about behavior. As if you're a pastor or a teacher or a leader in church, you want people to behave right and do right. But the key is we don't get people to do right by keeping the law in front of them. We get them to do right by helping them believe right. And if you believe right, right behavior, right believing will lead to right behavior. Yeah. When we know who we are, we'll walk in it. When we know that we are loved and accepted forever and that nothing can take us out of his hand, we are that loved by the Father, nothing can separate us from him. That brings a rest to the weary soul.
It does. And
so wherever you are this morning, if you're out there and maybe you needed to hear this, maybe you've been striving, maybe you've been thinking that you're not quite good enough, and you see this brother over here, this sister over here, and you're comparing yourself to other Christians, hey, let down all that pretense and just know that you are already accepted in the beloved.
Your bridge to hope, encouragement, and inspiration. It's Sozo Today with the Bridge FM Morning Crew. Here's Johnny, Jared, and Joel.
It is gradually warming up, 57 degrees, going to be a really nice day. You want to get out and enjoy it if you can. If you got to be to work at 8, you got 7 minutes to get there.
Or at 9.
Oh, my bad. If you got to be to work at 8, you're late. You're almost an hour late. You're fired. You're fired. My bad. Hey, listen, we're talking about the winning side this morning. The winning side. You want to be on the winning side, and the winning side is whatever side God's on. If God's on it, that's the winning side, right?
Absolutely.
And there's good news in this. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But first, Jared, one of our advertising partners did something really good, and we love it. Yeah. And we've got we are so privileged to have some amazing advertising partners. And
we have the best.
And here's why we say that. This is why we call them partners, because we don't do share-thons here. Typically, people connect our type of format of music, the adult contemporary Christian format that we have here. They connect that with a listener-supported station. And so that means stations will have share-thons, usually in the spring and the fall, and they raise money among their listeners, and that's how they stay on the air. We chose not to do that almost 8 years ago, and we're not knocking for those that do. We just know for us, this is what we felt like the Lord was showing us to do, and it was for us to go out and partner with local businesses for that support, so that it would always be free to the listener, that you would never feel any pressure to give to us. And because we know there's so many good things you can give to particularly your church, but so many great charitable events and organizations and things that you can give to. So we are so thankful for our advertising partners. And one of the first partners that we ever had here is Howells Mercantile and A&W Sales. And they just did something super amazing. And we actually had Wayne Jr. on the line with us last Friday. Yep. Yeah. But tell us about this.
So Wayne called us a couple weeks ago. He texted me on a Sunday, man, right in the smack dab in the middle of the day. It might have been on Easter Sunday, actually. Anyway, so he texts me and says, hey, I want to do something. I don't know what to do, but I think he ordered 1,000 jars of vegetable soup.
And they have their own private label soups. They got chilies, jams.
They got
like they're pickled okra.
I like spicy pickled okra. So he called me and said he was doing this, and he wanted to know if I knew of a way to distribute that out. And at the time I didn't. I have a friend of mine who runs Joy Soup Kitchen, and they were shut down at the time. They had to take a 14-day quarantine pause. As they started opening back up, I connected. I sent a text with phone numbers to the two of them. Then they got together, and Hal's Mercantile helped the Joy Soup Kitchen feed over 200 people the other day. And that, Johnny, that's some good news.
Yeah, with
man.
some good soup, by the way. That soup is delicious.
And we talked a little bit about it last hour. Y'all, this is a business that has totally had to change the way they're doing business. You can't go in there and shop, so the only orders they're able to take are online orders or call-in orders. Right? So in a time where they're hurting, they were still able to recognize that other people around the community were hurting, and they wanted to do their part to help. And so not only did they feed people here in Greenville, but also in the Bellhaven community, they went their whole community, and they started distributing that out and just did a really, really great job. And Johnny, you're right. I mean, we're so blessed and we're so thankful that we have these business partners to come on board with us and to help us spread the good news. And the good news today is be on the winning side, be on the winning team. And we've been talking about the lady in Matthew chapter 15. And it's a beautiful story of when everything else seems to be going awry, fall on your knees and say, Lord, help me.
Just
and
be
there
real.
You got it.
Just be real. So it's the winning side is the side of God's grace and unmerited grace and favor. That this is what Jesus said he'd come to usher in Luke chapter 4, 18 and 19. He had come to usher in the acceptable year of the Lord, the age of God's grace and favor. And it's because of that we don't have to reach. We don't have to.
That's
we
right.
don't have to live outside of that rest. We can live knowing that we're favored, we're loved, we're highly favored, we're deeply blessed, and we can count on Him. We can call on Him anytime, any day. Make it a Sozo day. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Looking forward to it.